So the 2-hour round trip that I made, sometimes 3 days a week, just didn't seem like a lot because being here was such a positive experience. During the time of Stokes Reynolds and Pioneer and now LifeBright, it was very clear that Pam was not, her allegiance was not to these organizations. Her allegiance was to the county and the people of Stokes. And so being part of a team where the bottom line was not the bottom line was the care of people, felt very good to me, and it continues to. I am concerned about the folks up in the skilled nursing unit. If they have to be moved, it's going to take many weeks or perhaps longer to find a place for them. I know legally they have to have at least 30 days. So I'm concerned that the change that's proposed could have catastrophic effects on those patients who I feel very close to. I'd be most appreciative if you all would consider or reconsider the decision that you've made for the benefit of the people in the nursing home, for the benefit of the residents of Stokes County. And I thank you.
Our next speaker is Mr. Rex McGee.
I am Rex McGee of 1570 Sugar Bush Lane, King, North Carolina. And I just want to, I am the Director of Pharmacy at LifeBright, and so I'm also primary vaccine coordinator, and we've done a lot of good work in that regard, along with the health department here in the county during the pandemic. So we've done over 7,000, or approaching 7,000 vaccinations at the hospital. So that's another thing that we do. You've stated your decision not to renew the LifeBright lease and as something that is in the best interest of the taxpayers. And I'm just concerned that there wasn't a lot of transparent discussion about exactly how this would be best for the taxpayers. I feel afraid that maybe you could have been misled by somebody saying that this could be a real quick transition, but I can tell you pharmacy, from my pharmacy's perspective, it's a very highly regulated industry, and the activities that pharmacists do. I have to communicate things to the Board of Pharmacy, to the Drug Enforcement Agency, Department of Health and Human Services, and our wholesale suppliers. They need to know the details about how I'm doing my business. So to hear that next week I'm going to be having to do details in an entirely different way, and I still have none, it is pretty distressing for me. The pharmacy activities are, at first glance, you might not think that, you might not recognize exactly how many places we touch, but we do the clinics, the adult, pediatric, and clinics here in Danbury and Pine Hall. We also our pharmacy serves the nursing home residents. We supply them their medication. We also supply the emergency room here with their medications. We also supply the surgical center in King with the medications that they need. We also supply the county EMS with the medications. So, it can be quite disruptive if our ability to order and procure medications are delayed due to some regulatory issue pertaining to this transition. And I intend to obey the law whenever it comes to that. So if it comes down to it, I just will have to fall on the side of what the law requires. So I hope the commissioners recognize that these services need to remain available. What I do needs to be taken into consideration here. And I want to also endorse, as others have, that we renew this lease with LifeBright with a mind towards, if a transition is intended, to developing a timeline that is reasonable. And I think even a year is plenty of time. There should be no hurry, something like this coming along. And take our time and develop a roadmap for what happens when. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Rex. Our next speaker is Dwayne Young.
My name is Dwayne Young, 1387 Hart Road in Lawsonville. And I appreciate the opportunity to speak just briefly. I will speak again at 2 o'clock, so I'll try to sit down quickly so others can have the opportunity. But we were asked to serve on the Hospital Operations Committee several months ago with the intention of helping you and helping the community develop a long-range plan for the operations of the hospital. We were presented to you, appointed by you, and approved by you to do just that. And so we've been working diligently on things for the future, coming up with aggressive plans on how we can better serve the citizens of Stokes County and the residents that are currently in place. We have meeting notes that show what we've discussed, how we've looked at every option and every opportunity to try to do what's best with minimal or limited funding by the citizens of Stokes County to keep the operation going and to improve it and to attract providers to this area that is so much needed. So all of that has been going on in the background for months at your direction and at your approval. And as of this past Monday, that seems to have gone out the door. All that we have worked on seems to have been disregarded for something that we have limited to no information about whatsoever. And none of us were even asked to provide input. We are in the written bylaws of the trustees to do just the job that you have been trying to do apparently for months on your own. And we are trying to figure out just why that happened, why our work was not considered, and why the work of healthcare folks that you appointed was not considered. And all the work that we have done in the past and all the experience that was brought to the table by previous folks that have worked for this county, that served in this county, that have served on previous hospital boards and during transitions, that know what it takes and know what it's like to serve in a transition and to serve during a time of upheaval, why those things were not considered. So as a result of that, I'm pleading with this board as the trustees to reconsider what the Board of Commissioners decided, and I know you're wanting the same, to really rethink what has been done and to take a step back and realize that a lease is in place for a reason and that it allows you to get out of that lease if you need to when it's necessary over a period of time, and to reinstitute the lease for what's currently in place. And then if we need to exit that lease, use the lease. Don't just drop it on a dime and expect things to just pick right back up in a moment's notice. Thank you.
Thanks, Dwayne. Our next speaker is Steve Gravitt. Steve, I'll ask you if you'd speak loud. There's a few folks in the back I don't think they can hear. So
I can talk pretty loud if you want me to.
go loud as you want to.
Good afternoon, everybody. I just wanted to say, this coming Saturday we will mark my 4-year anniversary with this organization. I found out about this job when I had a very good job at the time, but all my life I wanted to be somewhere where I could make a difference. And I found it at Stokes Reynolds Hospital. Now, through a set of extenuating circumstances that nobody in this room had any control over, things did not turn out as well as we had thought. I still want to see improvements at the hospital. Over the years, I have met people in the community, Jim Hicks in particular, who talked about the importance of the hospital and the need for the hospital. I have seen the state of disrepair that the building is in, and I have taken it upon myself on many occasions to work on my own time to research alternatives, ways to cut costs, ways to make things more comfortable so we're not over there at 2 in the morning trying to keep people warm. The only thing that I will say today is I still want to make a difference. These people behind me that I work with who are very good friends and are good co-workers, they want the same thing. I do this not necessarily for the money, I do it because I want to help someone. So please, I implore you, whatever decision you decide to make, that it is in the interest of not me, but the people of this county, particularly the people that live north of Jan George Road. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Steve. Our next speaker is Mayor Janet Witt.
Good evening, everyone. I didn't really plan on speaking today, per se, but I'm honored to be here, and I'm honored to say I don't have a speech. Usually I have speeches in front of me, but I can honestly say that I had the experience of COVID a couple of months ago, and I had the most wonderful care that anyone could have ever asked for. I personally think they saved my life. Dr. Smith was in the ED, Pam helped, Dr. Saunders, David, everyone was so good to me. My parents, through the years, have worked so hard for this hospital, along with Pam's mother. Years and years, we've lived in Danbury, and it was so important to my parents this hospital be here. They spent many hours making people feel at home, extended family, and we just care about this hospital. And I fear that the people that we have now that are so wonderful and so good, and I feel like the hospital is really doing good with our physicians that we have and our PAs and the staff. I worked at Baptist 25 years, and I could not ask anyone to be with any more intelligence or care or compassion than they were to me. And I just want to see this hospital here, and I want to see our people that are here now stay here, because they're good. They're very good at what they do. And Pam works third shift, second shift. What administrator would do that? Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Our next speaker is Mr. Brad Chandler.
Good afternoon, everybody. Brad Chandler, 1457 Forest Road, Westfield. I'm real perplexed of, I guess, while we're all here. I'll talk from personal experience. I only have to go to the doctor's office once or twice a year. But in the years that I've been going there, I get personal care. I don't like being just a number, a patient number. When I go in, like David Sanders, he saw me in the hallway the other day. I had a checkup. Recognizes me, know me, and we talk. And it's not a doctor that's looking at his watch trying to get out the door because he's got to get to his next patient. And it's quality care. And I like the availability of, if I have a cold or something like that, if I have a question about medicine, I can pick up the phone. And I don't go through a phone bank. Someone answers the phone. They may transfer me to the nurse and then to the doctor to talk to them, but I can get through. That means a lot. And this is part of the quality of life of Stokes County. If you look on your own web page under your economic department, they talk about quality of life. Having a medical facility that's professional and competent, and it's close by. It's 10 minutes down the road for me. I know it varies for different people in the county that live in the county. But when people, and I moved here full time in 2015 when I retired, and that was one of the reasons why. And at the time, over the years, since I've owned property since 2006, I know you've had some fluctuation, like with Pioneer. I remember that real well. Some of the stuff that was going on there, and the financial bit, and some of the issues of finding somebody to step in, and LifeBright did. And what I don't understand is apparently, because I just heard the gentleman who is on your hospital advisory committee, he's not recommending, or the committee's not recommending that you change. So what's happened? We just come out of a budget process. Your new budget just started July 1st. What kind of planning goes in? Has the board been planning this for a while? Because no one seems to know that. So if something urgent happened, I think we'd like to know. But I'm just talking from personal opinion as a taxpayer that has a stake in the game, I guess, health-wise. I love Life Bright. I can't complain about them. My neighbors, I don't get any complaints. My neighbors go there too. So please, I just ask that for the sake of Stokes County, and I don't know what has prompted this sudden thing, but it's just, it don't smell right. It does not smell right. Thank you.
Thanks, Brad.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Carolyn Hicks, I think. Is that right?
My name is Carolyn Hicks, 2288 Pitzer Road in Danbury. This is the first time I've ever spoke at a public meeting, so bear with me, I'm nervous. I would like to say that you could not ask for a better staff, a better hospital. I've been a patient there. My husband Thomas was a patient there. We've been to the ER. He went many times. He had a lot of illness. I have never had a hospital treat me any better, whether it was a large conglomerate or just an individual hospital. This hospital is needed by the people in Stokes County. We have a good hospital. We have caring nurses. We have caring doctors. My husband went to the ER one night. We didn't get to go home till about 2 in the morning. Who helped me put him in the car was a doctor. How many of your large hospitals would do that? They'd say, get out the best way you can. We're not here to do that. But they didn't say that. He went with us to the car. I could not get Thomas in the car by myself, and he helped me. And I just beg you to think about what you will be doing to this county and to these people. I've got family that works there. I've got friends that works there. My mother was a patient in the nursing home there. I could not have asked for better care. It's a small hospital, I realize that. They don't have a lot of the modern equipment. But sometimes it takes more than modern equipment. It takes caring and it takes love to make a hospital that is good for all people. And that's what I'm asking you to do. I don't understand why this is even an issue. It should not be. All of you should be willing to keep this hospital open. Sometime you might have to be a patient there. Would you want to have to go to Baptist if you were having a bleeding disorder and it could be helped here? I think not. If some of your family had been in an automobile accident, would you want to have to go somewhere if they just needed a small amount of care? I think not. So I'm begging you to keep this hospital open. You want how many rural hospitals and even doctors who are willing to work for a lot less money in a larger hospital? They don't want to do it. That's not their thing. Your larger hospitals really don't care about the elderly, and I'm speaking for myself. I'm not a young woman. I depend on this doctor in this hospital. The first time that my husband and I went to Dr. Sanders' office, first question we asked him, are we going to have to see a different doctor every time we come in and explain what we need? He said, no ma'am, I can promise you you won't. I said, I don't mind seeing somebody different every once in a while, but we both need a regular doctor. These people have stood by us, and I'm speaking for myself, my family, and a lot of my friends and my church members. They come up here to this hospital and they come to these doctors. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Our next speaker is, I think it's Olivia Shelton. Is that right? You signed up. Okay, talk loud, Olivia, so they can hear you in the
Sorry,
back.
Said it to myself, you know what happens when you do that. I'm here as an advisory committee member. I'm also here as a former board member when Baptist was our operator. I know how difficult this is for the staff. No, I don't. I know little pieces. I have no comprehension of the medical. I am grateful that we are here for public comments. I'm Olivia Nelson Shelton. I live on 602 North Main Street, Danbury. I have for almost 50 years. Came here, found a home, never left. Raised all 3 sons here, even one in Germany, thank goodness. I began getting calls about the cancellation of LifeBright last Tuesday. I had let many know that I was on the advisory committee. I was so happy to be their mouthpiece. Haven't I? And was there just to get input from them and to share what I knew, and we were working on all these wonderful new plans. But the callers knew more than I did because we weren't contacted. We are here and we are organized at your request, as I understand it. Perhaps I'm wrong. They told me this, the callers and the FaceTimers and everybody else that contacts you says, it was cancellation of lease. Stopped July 31st. I thought, what? August 1st. The hospital leadership has long been involved in ongoing planning with LifeBright. Those aspirational but independently funded improvements will not happen soon now, if at all. All energy will be diverted to transitions and new certifications with many technical professional hospital agency requirements. Our staff will be treading water as fast as they can. There will be no progress because we'll be treading water just trying to keep open. If that's happening, if it's allowed. I hope you'll be able to answer the questions we all have. I appreciate Sonia's taking my call. She was very gracious about it. I would love to believe that everything she's told me is going to happen. I don't know. I have no confidence. I have worked in this rural hospital area for a long time. I know what it took to get Baptist here. I know what it took to get Baptist to leave. Who will be operating the hospital with our more than 35 long-term patients? They're especially close to me. I have visited, I've taken groups there, I've taken church there, I've taken students there time after time after time and done performances with them. I'm broken heart. Ronnie Mendenhall, you signed permission slip for me to take kids up there and play dulcimers and sing for those clients. What happens with our clinics in Pine Hall and King? We're just building them up. I'm thrilled with Pine Hall. David Kaplan, you were the most wonderful physician I ever had besides Sean Smith here, and I love my 2 here now, but you and I passed each other growing up in Roanoke, Virginia. We didn't know each other then, but we came to meet in Danbury in the doctor's office when he told me that my extensive health was also exhausting. Extensive health records were also exhausting. I love that. It was true. I'd had a whole lot of surgeries that month. Does this, I want to know how can we answer these things? How does this decision enhance Stokes County's or the hospital's reputation? It makes us look more vulnerable. Is it economically feasible and responsible? Does it build community trust? Our quick response to COVID, thank you, Rex, I forgot to even write your name down. Our quick response to COVID and immunization certainly did increase public community, awareness, confidence, and they came from out of state and out of county, and I've got a whole bunch of them here, and I'm so glad I did. Kudos to the management and to the staff of that outreach for our immunizations. Does the lease cancellation make it easier for the hospital to get grants, bonds, or loans? Or are we now a financial blunderbuss? Does it support staff and families? Long time. I've taught Faye May, but she started working here right away. I hope so. I hope this supports staff and patient families. I have every hope, but I have absolutely no confidence in it. This is too quick. Thank you.
Thank you, Olivia. Our next speaker is Debbie Vaden.
Hi, I'm Debbie Vaden, address 3359 Moore Springs Road, Westville. Even though it's just right up the road, we're far from Westville. Anyway, I accidentally guess I signed the paper, didn't know I was going to speak, but I'm a registered nurse, and I was born to Stokes Reynolds Hospital. I work there per diem now, and my concern is we can change operators, but not in the middle of a year. I don't know what the premise is to change in December or in July. If you change at the end of the year and have a 6-month transition, employees keep their insurance, their benefits for the year, and you have 6 months to get all the certifications and et cetera that have to be done. This is not something that can be done in a week. I don't know what you guys have done behind the scenes, but you can have done to have gotten all the certifications. I know Pam knows what's behind getting a transition. We did Pioneer and then we did Life Bright, and neither one was fun. I was working there at that time per diem. So I just ask that you consider a transition period if you're going to make a change. And a 1 week transition period or 1 day is not going to cut the mustard. It's going to be a disaster. Thank you.
Thank you, Debbie. Our last speaker is Georgia Rorick, is that correct?
I hope I'm the only Georgia in the room. Because he butchered my last name. It's Roderick, Georgia Roderick.
Oh, I apologize.
1152, that's fine.
I see that D there.
Yeah, I'm the only Roderick in the country, I think, besides my husband. My address is 1152 Ellis Lawson Road, and I'm a patient of Dr. Sanders. And I recently had 2 visits to the ER and spent 3 days in the hospital with a heart condition, and I'm also an asthmatic. And the first thing that came to mind when I got the Facebook post was, where do I go when I have an incident, when I can't breathe? It took my husband 10 minutes to drive me from my house to this little hospital, and they were on me immediately. I had all the medications and all the attention that I could have hoped for, and I've lived in California, Indiana, Florida, Michigan, North Carolina, and Colorado. And I've been to hospitals in all those places, and this was the best experience I ever had. What do? Do I call an ambulance and wait 10 minutes for them to get to me? Maybe 10 minutes. Now they'll have oxygen and they might have epinephrine, which I can't take because of my heart. So how long is it going to take me to get to a facility where they can treat me in the manner that I need to be treated? Are we looking at a half an hour? 40 minutes from my house to Mount Airy. So that's what, 50 minutes, very, very nearly an hour, while I'm in respiratory distress and my heart's racing out of control. And I'm not alone. Look at the room. I'm not the only person that has medical conditions that can't wait an hour. So you're going to deprive us of life-saving medical care? Why? Is it the money? Because are you going to spend more money on ambulances and EMTs so they can get to these patients faster? Are you? I've heard some people talk about this being underhanded. Personally, I think they're right. I don't have anything. I don't know you people. I don't have an axe to grind. I've never met any of you. But it sure sounds to me like you went behind closed doors and made decisions without asking anybody. And guess what? I'm a voter. So if you don't care about people, maybe you care about voters.
Thank you. That's our last speaker, and I would remind anybody that came in late that we'll be doing a regular commissioner meeting at 2 o'clock, and there's also a public comment period there if you were not able to sign up today for this meeting. The next item on our agenda is approval of the April 12 board minutes. If you guys would review those and give me a motion or comments or
Hi, Mr. Chairman. We got with Shannon, Sager, and under the life lease renewal, you all have requested that we reword that language. So if you have questions about that rewording, I'd be glad to answer those.
Commissioner Morris,
Mhm.
on page 2, I guess, where it's got Life Bright lease renewal. It says that Life Bright lease is due for renewal on July 1. Is that July 1 or August 1?
Yeah, that's the,
Should be August. I'm sorry.
yeah, we thought it was July 1, I think earlier. It should be August 1, yeah. That's the paragraph, Pam, you were just talking about, right? That she was just reminding you guys about. I mean, the section, the Life Bright lease renewal section.
I don't have any questions about the minutes.
Okay, anybody else have any questions or comments? Get a motion for approval then?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. One more set of minutes is the next item on the agenda for June 14th, 2021, if you take a look at those.
Make a motion, we approve the minutes.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Okay, at this point, we're about 10 minutes away, I think, from another meeting, 15 minutes. Would it be the pleasure of the board to recess at this time and finish the last three items after the next meeting?
I'll make a motion, we recess to get ready for our next meeting.
Second.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, we're recessed until the conclusion of our regular commissioner meeting at 2 o'clock.
Please ask your indulgence.
Yes, sure.
I'd like to apologize any hospital employees who are here. I appreciate many of you have taken your time off of work to come. If you want to raise your hands or stand up and let everybody know who you are. We have many managers.
Okay, thanks, Pam. We're recessed then until we're unrecessed.
Drug dealer's gotta go.